We hope that you turned your TV off while you're listening to this podcast. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Corey.
And we have our friend Jerry Konfor back with us again to finish our discussion of GNX.
That's good. How are you guys doing this evening? I'm definitely happy to be back. And last time it was so great of a conversation that we had to do it, part 2. So let's go.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm sure you all heard part 1. There was a lot there, but there was so much to discuss with the backstory of GNX with the rap beef and the Super Bowl that we only got to 4 actual songs on the album. So now we have to discuss the rest of them. So that's what we're going to do today, is discuss the rest of these beautiful songs.
Yeah, man. We got all the way to what, number 4?
Yeah, we finished. Yeah, we have to start at track 5.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So are we ready to start with track 5 now? I know I am.
Yeah, let's get at it. Let's get at it.
So track 5 is Hey Now, which is featuring Dodie Six, who's a local LA rapper. And he was released from prison back in August. So I'm thinking this is his first appearance since then, unless there's something I don't know. But this one has a lot of digs at Drake and just what he represents overall. And this song, to me, it's a solid track. It keeps me in the album. I wouldn't put it in my top half of the songs on the album. Like, out of everything here, I wouldn't say it's like one of the very best, but I think it does what it works here in the track 5 spot. I'm still very invested in the album and wanting to hear what's next.
Yeah, it's coming across pretty heavy at this point. And we're coming out of Man in the Garden, and it comes from this whisper narrative into the yelling, and then we get dropped into Hey Now here, and we're 808s banging, full creeping. I gotta disagree with it not being in my top half. I think, no spoilers, if not the best work he does lyrically on this album, it's right up there. Like, this is, man, for me, this is who I know him to be. And then the addition with Dodie Six here is done super well.
Yeah.
With the backup singers incorporated, I really dig this track, and it sets us up for another springboard on this album too, because we didn't really touch on it that much, but like, Man at the Garden for me is a turning point for the first third of the album. Now we're on to another story, and this is a no holds barred deal. Definitely still invested, and pacing wise, it works well. I'm down with this number 5.
Yeah. It's really just, I don't know if you guys remember the is it the Yang Twins?
Yes, yep. I know them. Whisper song.
Yeah. Man, I remember the first time I'm hearing a rapper whisper on the song, I'm like, what is he doing? But Kendrick is literally trying to let us understand the type of vibe, right? Because I saw a podcast where someone, I think I mentioned this before, where someone was not happy with the direction Kendrick is taking hip hop, because it's like, hey, it's not very exciting, it's not party songs, but when you hear tracks like Hey Now, you get to understand, like, wow, he's literally giving us the blueprint. It's literally saying that you don't have to do all those things. You can do it. There's a lot of good history that we could draw from already. And of course the production is it's just amazing, man. Like, I don't know if you, as a producer, like, trying to figure out the low frequencies with the 808s.
Yeah.
With the whispers, and they're not muddy.
Yeah, man.
Well, that's all I got to say. It's brilliant. Like, it's crazy. So yeah, it's very it's and literally, I feel like it changes the temperature of the tape to me.
Most definitely. That creeping sound that I was talking about back in Whacked Out is super mimicked here and even more elevated, in my opinion.
I do think
That,
it's neat how there's multiple stories you can make out of this album with the track listing. Because I think you could say there's a turning point coming up after the next track, too. I think there's a turning point.
Oh, yeah, most
yeah.
definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah. And speaking of that, the next track is Reincarnated. It's built on a Tupac sample, which is cool. And Kendrick takes on multiple perspectives in this song. I feel like he's talking about reincarnated, as in he's carrying on the culture, because the song ends with him as Kendrick Lamar. And other artists, it's believed that the first verse he's referring to John Lee Hooker, the famous bluesman, and the second verse is probably Billie Holiday, very famous jazz singer. So long gone musical legends. And he's taking on their perspective. And not everybody's able to do that. And he does it here. And I think it works really well. And he's probably saying other people need to study their history and carry on the legacies of our forebears like Booker and Holiday. And, there's some digs at Drake too, but really this song's a lot deeper than that. And I pick up on something new every time I hear this song in particular. So this is a really powerful tune and definitely a highlight for me.
Yeah, if Corey don't mind, I would just point out something. You have to also understand. You have to give you know, is there anything correlation that happened during the beef to this song, right? I just even remember during the beef, Drake used Tupac's voice and
That's
Snoop's
true.
voice in one of the rap beef songs. AI way. He went the AI way. He got sued by Tupac's estate. He had to, bring the song down and blah blah blah. This song is literally Kendrick, like you pointed out, Charlie. Like it's literally saying, like, man, be proud of the people that came before you because they might have given you the foundation, but you can work on it and build your own thing. And he's literally just trying to, give a representation of West Coast hip hop in its purest purest form, but also with a lot of embedded history. Yeah, listen, like I'm like, you can't beat this. Like, who's gonna sound like this right now from the West Coast? Like even the hip hop, it brings back so much in history of things that, like, listening to it just gives me a good vibe. Like, oh my, wow, history was so much important to even get this song. Tupac, if Tupac didn't do what Tupac did, we wouldn't have this song. So that's good.
And we wouldn't. And that's where the genius I'll say the genius of Kendrick Lamar, but more so the genius of this track in particular comes into play for me. Not only are we on a track titled Reincarnation, but
Mm,
we get to do this wild narrative. Like Charlie was saying, first we talk through the eyes of Johnny Lee Hooker, then we talk through the eyes of Billie Holiday while she's going through her drug stuff on the Chitlin circuit, the whole nine.
mm,
Then we become Kendrick. Then we talk to God. We have a back and forth there, and then we talk to the devil himself and have a back and forth there. And throughout this whole entire process, Kendrick finds himself and really does a stellar job narrating uh this self evolution, really, to all the way to the end of this track. And it's all on top of history. It's all on the shoulders of giants here. And
mhm.
he doesn't shy away from it, and he gives it to us. This is phenomenal. This is phenomenal.
Yeah.
This is we talked about me being an old hip hop fan and a get off my lawn old man, but at first it was the nostalgia of the Tupac sample, but having time with this song, it's kudos. You want to talk about blueprint for the generations going forward, Jer, like you were talking about? This is the one. This is the one you put in the time capsule, or this is the one
There's
you
one.
put, in the classrooms for
Yeah,
master classes. This
yeah.
is this is the one.
I would say, got a quick question for you, Corey. So there's one more historic song that it reminds me of. Like we all get the Tupac angle. There's one more, and it features, the song, it features Dr. Dre and Eminem. You know the song?
What song are you talking about? Because I
The
got Eminem
Conscience,
vibes.
the
What's up?
Conscience song.
The Conscience song?
I think I don't
Oh,
know the I don't
hold
know the
on.
title off my head, but you remember the song where Dr. Dre was Eminem's conscience?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
it's
He
on.
literally took that concept in his writing scheme, but he gave us the nostalgia with the Tupac flow. So that's why I wanted to point out, because I know you're an old school guy. Just to if you're wondering why he keeps fighting with himself with different personalities and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
no, that's a cool one. Guilty Conscience is the name of that song, and
yeah.
that is
Oh
a
yeah.
great.
Thank
That's
you.
a great connection right there. Yeah, I didn't even touch on the Eminem vibes I had there, but yeah, wow, that's a good one. Yeah, man.
And it literally just got in my head right now
Yeah,
while you were talking, because you kept going old school, you kept going to the blueprint. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, that song still reminds me of something that he incorporated, and I was like, oh yeah, Eminem and Dr. Dre.
yeah.
That
That
just, yeah, it's
definitely,
crazy, man.
definitely. Shout out to
And I
Soundwave
think
and
people are gonna miss that. A lot of people are gonna miss that.
yeah. Hey, man, we just got it, and I've been going back and forth on this song. Like I was getting ready to say, shout out to Soundwave and Jack Antonoff for this track, because this is we talked about the old schoolness, but
Who is this
there
Jack guy though? Because I feel like I really don't like I know a little bit about, Kendrick really is very erratic with his producers.
there-
But I know you mentioned, that he's really a renowned, culture shifting producer, and literally has his hands on all the crazy tracks on here. Like it's
yeah,
crazy.
and he's we talk about him a lot, but he's
Hmm.
really Charlie. Would you say he's got his main fame from Taylor Swift, or am I wrong in saying that?
He's
Wow.
most known for working with Taylor Swift, and he's been working with her now since 2014. He's been on every album of hers since 1989, and he's been part of her re-recording project too. So he's been a
Man,
big
he's
part of
talented,
her
man.
sound
He's
since then.
talented.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I feel
And
like
he
he's like the
also,
glue. He's like a glue producer. Like he
yeah,
brings the things together, like an ensemble. It's dope. Like
yeah. And he's also done work with folks like Lord and Lana Del Rey, really acclaimed work with both of them. Most recently, even Sabrina Carpenter, one of the hottest names right now. But now he's doing this, so I do think he's really showing his versatility, and I appreciate that, especially now because, well, we talked about I think a lot of the latest work he did with Taylor Swift was underwhelming. We both thought that. We didn't love the
yeah.
last album, but this does show me like he's not a one trick pony. There's still,
Oh, so he did that and then came and did this? Oh
yeah,
yeah,
God.
and he's a musician to
He's a
music, right?
madman, man.
yes, he is. He's
Yeah,
He's
done
a
the band
madman.
Bleachers. He was in the band Fun. He's
He's a
been,
madman.
yeah, he's been a big name in music for now 15 years almost. He's
yeah,
been an architect of our popular music
Kudos to
sound.
you, brother.
yeah.
Kudos.
Yeah,
No, he's nice. Shush.
he's done.
Now it makes sense why Kendrick gave Taylor Swift that feature.
Yeah,
I was wondering, like, what is there? Got to be some good relationship. Duh.
So
yeah,
it's all about the producers.
It's all about the producers.
yeah.
You know what I mean, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. Hey, bro, can you do a solid for my girl? Sure, bro. I'll give you 10 beats tomorrow. Sure. Probably held those beats till GNX.
Yeah, that's why I said last week, I really believe that he's on the track to become a prolific, if not already a prolific producer on the track, to being one of the ones that later generations will talk about, like we talk about Spectre, or we talk about Ruben, or we talk about Dre,
Mhm.
but up there, he's super up there. And he's got his hands on everything right now.
I low-key wanted Dre to be on a lot heavy-handed on this, but I actually kind of like how Dr- Dre is actually a very major piece in Kendrick's career. Like, let's just start there. He's the reason why Kendrick got his new deal. So he definitely called the shots, right? But musically, production wise, he's literally just let Kendrick do his thing, um, and just work with producers that are, just that fits whatever he's trying to do. Even though he could just whoop, something new up, and but I feel like him being smart to let Kendrick do him. You still have a partnership with him on the back end, but you don't really try to force your artistry on him. You have him do his thing. He has all the control, right? He has all the control. The only time you're even talking is if he wants more money. So I really love that, and I still low key want a Kendrick produced Dr. Dre album, but that's another story.
Well, speaking of producers, it's time for the one and only Mustard.
Oh God.
It's that time. It's time for TV off. He's back and lets us all know in the middle of the song. That's like the music meme of the year, and I love it. Made it to the Grammys and the Super Bowl. That exclamation.
Yeah.
Again, but jokes aside, this is a really neat song. It's got two very distinct parts, and I think this has the most clear message on the album. Like, turn the TV off, pay attention to what's going on around you, and do something about it. Just like, don't just watch the TV all day. That's really the point of the song. We get a pretty cool outro from Lefty Gunplay. And of course, this song closed out the Super Bowl performance in epic fashion, truly, especially with the game over at the end. It was just
Yeah.
so powerful and brilliant, in my opinion. I really enjoyed the song, and it just got elevated with an epic visual.
Yeah. Corey, you want to go? Or you want to go?
Oh, you go.
Yeah, TVO is I told Charlie, man, like TVO is my favorite. And I'm not trying to say like, it's that catchy song, but it is that catchy song. He didn't put Not Like Us on this album. They don't like us, what they don't like us. But if you're a producer again, play Not Like Us and play TV off. I'm sorry to say, I don't want to call anything, but it's the same beat. It's the same cadences, switched up in a different way. I love it, the brilliance. And people might ask, why do some artists do that? Sometimes him knowing that he was probably going to put Not Like Us on this track, but some people try to um, produce a different dynamic of a certain beat to kind of glue the tape together sometimes. You will have, a beat that was track 3, 4, and have another song on track 5, 6, but it's the same foundation, right? It's the same. They try to do that sometimes, but man, it's just a catchy song, great for the performance. And again, Mustard, man, I don't even think we've talked enough about him. You guys know his original name is Dejan. So it, it's just crazy how he got here, but he worked a lot. He's a workaholic. I tell people don't just accidentally get to in a position in life. They work a lot. This man has a note that he shares with Kendrick every day. Kendrick leave notes, and he sends 3 to 10 beats to him every day, not knowing if it's ever gonna come out. Think about it. You're literally sending beats every day. You're cooking. You're not just cooking for Kendrick, you're cooking for other people too. But you're sending beats every day, not knowing if it's gonna come out. And the boy brought you out in his performance, right? To give you the credit. Because Mustard, if you want to go back to his history, he did, he did a lot of West Coast, staple songs, right? For YG, my N word song with, those are like mustard. Like people don't, I've forgotten that man was getting the club up back in the days with those
That's
West
true.
Coast simple beats, like people would say. But it's not simple. He's perfected his craft, man. Like he knows what works for him. And being in sync with the person you're creating the beat for is very essential, and it does a lot of good for the producer because, man, we got a different take on Apple, but if you listen to the Super Bowl performance, some parts were getting freestyled by Kendrick. It's just it's just like a match made in heaven, right? Like most of that is amazing, and I do think he's a very great example of just that new school um hip West Coast hip hop. I would say he's a more new school.
I'm with you 100% on him being a little bit more new school, and that's why the Mustard second half of this song, and I'm going to get into that a little bit more, but that's why I feel like it doesn't start this track off. That this
Mm.
could have been, in my opinion, just this Mustard track here, right? You add on the Not Like Us beat. I call this one the Not Like Us suite here because he uses the Not Like Us beat as a man, almost like as a buffer. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
you bring us in with
Mm-hmm.
something, and it's cool because I really dove into this a bit,
Mm.
and watching how he almost babied Not Like Us, or not babied, but more so kept it as its own entity, and he never
Yes.
really in any of the promotional stuff had it connected to GNX, which is really cool, right? So then you go ahead and use this because it's not, like you said, you're not going to put it on this album, and then you use this very um familiar beat because everybody's already on Not Like Us, and you use it here, in my opinion, as a buffer to let us into the Mustard track, because the Mustard track, and now we go full circle on this thought, the Mustard track is a bit too new school to just be its own track in this album, in my opinion, just because we've been so West Coast old school
Yeah.
all the way through
Good.
here that if
Good.
you drop that Mustard track right here, you lose the vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it was done well. I think it was an intentional thing to do. And I think it was done very well. It didn't take that me as a subconscious listener out of the album, and now looking back on it, it's like, oh, that was another genius move inside of this chess game that we get here on this album. So I
I
definitely
think
dig it.
I, I think to go with what Curry shouldn't have said it better. Like it's like the way you said, like a buffer. Like it's literally that. But this man literally was like, I'm gonna show Drake that I could do radio songs. Spoke about. I think I reminded Charlie before the podcast started about rap and hip hop starving for fame, right? Trying to get to the new thing, pop, right? Drake, all these things. And you have this rapper battling with a guy that can bring out a reggae song and it goes number one.
Yeah.
That's what he's dealing with. The reason why None Like Us really did what it did is because it made us dance. Y'all,
Yeah.
y'all listen to Euphoria, y'all listen to other these songs he did, but once he got us on the dance floor, oh man. So I think he was just trying to, like Bro said, he was just trying to elude the same thing, like, hey, oh, I do this for my sleep, waking up. And you have to understand he's a writer. He's already been paid to tour, right? Stadiums with Caesar. Now you're thinking tour stadiums, this is that. I'm gonna do a stadium song. I'm gonna write a stadium song. Right. So you're talking about everybody, the commentators, like the screaming mustard, like it's crazy, man. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild, man, to think about it. But yeah, you're right, Tori. It's a buffer, literally. So
What a buffer it is. And the question is, how do we follow song like TV off? Well, we're gonna follow it with eighth track, which is Dodger Blue, which is a posse cut. We've got a Wally the Sensei, Roddy Rich, and Siete 7X joining Kendrick Lamar on this song. Not gonna lie, I think this song's a tough sell after TV off. It has a much more laid back sound, which is
yeah,
nice enough on its own, but I think it's a tough sell after the previous tune. I just don't feel this song is placed correctly in the album, and I think it's the only real misstep in terms of the track list. And just for where the song's placed. I'm glad that he showcased a couple of more underground artists. I think that's awesome
yeah,
that he did that. Just not at the
yeah.
right spot for me. That's my big complaint with this song, and it does take me out a little bit.
Go ahead, Corey.
Oof. All right, you want me to go first on this one?
Yep.
This one for me, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I will say I love a good West Coast. Uh, what's the word I'm looking for? I love a little West Coast ballad. I'm a sucker for a
Thank
good
you.
West Coast ballad, but this one it loses me on this album. I've tried to make it right in my head, reaching and being like it's a West Coast ballad, or being like, yeah, he's got young artists on here. This is a nice springboard track. But for pacing of an album, I can't find a spot for it. It sure as hell ain't here after TV off. And the only other place I could think to put it is in between Hey Now and Reincarnated, and
Yeah,
Hey Now still bangs too much for it. It's tough, man. It's tough. I don't know. I don't hate this song, I guess. It's an okay song. It's an okay track, but I can't find a place for it here. I really think it's the only real big, like you said, Charlie, to use the word you said, misstep, but it's a larger one for me here. It really does take me away from this album. It tries not to, and I can see that, but that's just benefit of the doubt there. As far as a number 8 here, it's tough, man. It is tough for me.
yeah.
Again, not take away from the song, but damn, it takes away from the pacing of this album, especially on like a subconscious listener just going through, having it on in the kitchen. It's almost like you're listening to a different album.
Facts. No, I feel the same way. Like when I got to TV off, I repeated it like 10 times, and then I went to the next track, and I'm like, "Oops, I'm going back to the other track," and I played it for the ninth time. Yeah, you have to understand. Like, this is my guess. Kendrick is trying to give us a horrible break. Maybe I'm wrong. It's like, well, this is that song you go right. You land in LAX at 11 p.m. You're getting your Uber, and that's playing on a local Los Angeles radio station. Like that is the kind of vibe it's for LA people, bro. Like we might not understand this, but I guarantee you, some neighborhood in LA it's on the highest ever because that song was in there. And he maybe he overthinks himself sometimes, but yeah, if there's anything we can say is a misstep, oh yeah, definitely. Maybe he could have replaced the song or do what you suggested, like rearrange it to be somewhere else. But I just think it's supposed to be like a break for us, because the next song tells you it was probably a break. So
Exactly.
that's my take to it. It was just one of those songs where it's a West Coast thing, and we just have to figure out if we get it or not.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I agree because we are back. I feel like we're back to the album with the next song, which is Peekaboo. It's the shortest tune on the album, and I would say it's a very stream of consciousness song. And It's a fun song. I feel like I wouldn't say this is a diss track, but I think it has the ferocity of his diss tracks, which I appreciate. And it was a really good moment for the dancers in his Super Bowl performance.
Yeah, Peekaboo, it's just a little history. Me and Charlie spoke about this in a pre-conversation before the show started. He featured a Nigerian decent artist, that's an LA artist. I'm still don't quote me on that, but he has AZ Chike, that's a Nigerian name for sure. AZ, the Chike at the end, that's definitely a Nigerian name. But anyway, I love this because I'm a fan of Chike now. Like when the album came out, I'm a fan of Gunplay, Lefty Gunplay, who's a very good artist, by the way, right? He was on TV Off. And I'm a fan of AZ Chike. And I was telling Charlie, like, the most beautiful thing he did was he didn't allow anyone to perform with him except Cesar. But Chike was home watching from his couch with his friends, right? He's watching Peekaboo start. And he's sitting there. It's not like he's like just froze up. His friends are going crazy. When he started going crazy was when Kendrick started rapping his own verse. If you watch the Super Bowl show again, Kendrick did his verse. And man, you don't even know the blessing he got from that, man. Woo. You do not know. Like he almost cried from the reaction video, literally. When Kendrick literally said, "This is AZ," this is that stomping feet. Oh my God, it was a rap. Like the dude was crying from his couch. So I was like, why is he doing AZ's verse? Why is AZ not there? But when I saw the reaction video, I'm like, man, this man is just putting people that are probably very small, but he's carrying them on his back. Like in one of the most important, bro. Imagine you doing one of the most important shows in your life, and you decide to do a song that an underground artist collaborated with you, and not only did you do that, you performed his verse. So I love this song. We want to talk about the style of the song. One of my let me put that. So I got TV off. I got you know Peekaboo. I got Luther. Hmm. Squabble Up is there too. But man, Peekaboo, the storytelling is crazy. It gives me that. If for some reason it gives me this song. I know we said Mustard um is the is the new school, but man, honestly, if this is the new way or new wave of West Coast music, I'm down for it. Peekaboo's amazing.
Yeah, I'm with you. It is amazing. And, not to put the nail in the coffin of Dodger Blue, but that rest we talk about on here all the time. We use the term palate cleanser. For me, this Peekaboo, even with the old like R&B sample to start it off, and then the song drop in on top of it. It sets up to be that palate cleanser. Then we get this really subdued, repeated verse. Like I say repeated because I'm not sure the technique here, but I'm with you. I like this. It has a new school feel.
Thank
Um,
you.
and
Yeah.
it's almost like a Seawalk track here, and
Mm-hmm.
I like that too because it comes off of the old school sample in the start of it. But this
Mm-hmm.
ends up being a beautiful palate cleanser. This like again, not to put the nail in the coffin on Dodger Blue, but this keeps the momentum going and keeps the thought of this album going, and it's the same length. It's a little short banger that is perfectly put in its narrative, but also perfectly put inside of the list here. The way this album is going and the pacing is really well done. I love
Mm-hmm.
this song too. I find myself going back to this a bunch.
Yeah. Peekaboo is a vibe. And I feel like it's one of those things that was created in the moment. I swear to God.
Heard.
I don't think they rehearsed Peekaboo. I swear, I think it was just
Sounds
yeah,
spontaneous.
yeah, it was yeah, some just came up. The vibe was just crazy that night
Yeah, that's
because
what
you could
Charlie was
tell when they
saying
went
with
back and forth.
yeah, that's what Charlie was saying with the what's the word you use, Charlie? I'm
Stream of
sorry.
consciousness.
Stream of consciousness.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's really what I got from this song big time. Can't say
I
I,
don't
I
know.
don't
You guys, Charlie, remind me if I'm wrong. Peekaboo is an American game, right?
yeah, it's an American game as far
I
as I
never
know.
heard Peekaboo in any country. I heard it in America, so it better be an American game. I would say we're jacking somebody else's culture. All right, so what is the game? What is the basis of Peekaboo game?
It's
I
it's
have
for
no
it,
idea.
it's for like a baby. So like
Yeah.
you hide behind your hands like this, and then you quick open it up and say peekaboo in like a high pitched voice, and the baby laughs. That's what. So peekaboo is like showing yourself really fast.
Okay, and then
That's what
hiding
the
and
term.
showing again.
Exactly.
I,
Exactly.
okay, I see.
I did know that much, but like the origins of it, all that, yeah, I don't know.
But if you look at the way the camera work was for his performance when he did Peekaboo, he was literally trying to play the game. He literally would appear and said, "Peekaboo, this is this guy," and it goes to a different camera.
Yeah.
Peekaboo, he's trying to. I think that's what Corey is trying to explain. But did you guys see how um the clothes they wore and the way the dancers were walking? I feel like he's underlining message to this. That I might be crazy. Because the fact that he actually performed Peekaboo, he's saying that this life is a game and it's like the Squid Game, but
Okay.
just in the hood. Look at the area shots of the dances. It's like Squid Game. Doing Peekaboo, you have white, you have red, you have man. It's just a lot of messages. Just I'm trying to figure out which one is the right message, but I just think he went over the top with the messaging when it comes to this performance with him doing that grandeur of a show, right? With Samuel L. Jackson begging him, don't go there, man. Yeah, that. And then he said, I'm doing it. Right. So, and he was playing peekaboo with us live on TV because someone said, well, where's he? And he showed up and he went back. He showed up. So, man, it's crazy, man. Like, the man is so brilliant. And I'm still trying to figure out a rapper that I've listened that's lyrical that I'm like, oh my God. He takes a lot of there's a lot of underlining lessons that he layers it on everything he does. I mean, yeah, Kendrick again, like, yeah, that's what he does, man. So
Nas.
yeah, Nas. Oh man, remember talking about Nas, very very big and for to now. Thanks, Corey, for bringing that up. Nas was one of the first rappers to congratulate Kendrick for his Super Bowl
Yeah.
show when he
Yeah.
first got announced publicly. It was a very big divide in the I guess in the black Twitter page face, and I guess hip hop they were like, is it deserving? A lot of people wanted Lil Wayne because he's a legend. Super Bowl is happening in New Orleans, so yeah. Um, we were lucky to have Kendrick. I feel like we needed to see the standard for hip hop from an excellent performer. I got tired of me just accepting whatever is put on the TV for me to see. I would love to watch the TV. I'm like, oh my God, who's this guy? What's his name? Oh, I gotta follow him. That thing. I remember when I heard Thriller the first time in the streets of Africa. I stopped and looked. Who was that singing? That's Michael Jackson captivating song. Literally stopped and I got beat because I was late home. Right? So you there's a way when music hits you, you know what I'm saying? He hits you and thank God for Kendrick, man. I think if you're a good if you're a rap fan, we're in a great time now. I'm not side note, Kendrick and his guy just released an album or whatnot, but go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but I do. Speaking of Nas, I feel like Nas has a part in this. Addition to the series of songs we're discussing next, I guess, which we're at track 10, which is Heart Part 6. So for those who don't know, Kendrick Lamar has a whole series of songs called The Heart, and there's different parts to it. And none of them have been on one of his studio albums until now. But this one's, at least as far as I know,
Mm,
I didn't recall. That was what I got from it. This one's a bit significant too because Drake's response to Not Like Us was called The Heart Part 6, and it was very poorly received.
important. Important, yep.
So Kendrick is really he's reclaiming his song series from Drake. Says, look at it, if you're an artist and this guy responds to you using your song title and the song sucks, frankly, according to most, it's like this wasn't it. This was not the response you needed to make. You lost. That has to hit you hard as an artist, in your
Yeah.
heart as an artist. So it's very important that he's reclaiming it. And the song isn't about Drake, really. It's really about his departure from Top Dog and how he saw all of it. But this is very R&B. We've got a SWV sample, Use Your Heart. And so it's very mellow and it gives us this backdrop to hear conscious words of sorts where he's talking about where he's standing in his career now. I think the backing vocals on this song from Sam Dew are beautiful as well. This is one of the best of the second half of the album for me. This one really stands tall just because I love the overall sound of it and just the meaning behind it.
Yeah, go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, I love to see artists do this, and I pick my brain to find any that have, and I can't find any. But to do this truly anecdotal long take across your career is really captivating to me, and I dig it. And we get another chapter here. It's on top of Use Your Heart from SWV, so it's for me, it's that throwback there, that I could see like a young Kendrick rapping over that, just freestyling over that beat anyway from back in the day.
Hmm.
And now as an older man, do an anecdotal run of what's new in my life, and put it on wax is really cool thing to hear. And I love the way it's done. I'm with you, Charlie. The message is so wild and so on point. This is a highlight of this album. I don't, not that I didn't expect it to be, because it's his opus here, my own words, but like his opus, and it is it's really neat. It's really neat. It's a mind-blowing track.
Yeah, I just feel like you guys said, it's a closure to his history with TD, and I'm a big TV fan. They have too many talents, man, amazing talents. And there were many times that he probably felt that his light was was too bright, for certain progress of all the projects that involved his guys, right? So, but it makes sense now. Like during his reign in TDE, he would just pop out and give, you know, Schoolboy Q a song. Hell, when you look at the credits, you would now understand that whatever Schoolboy Q is singing, he wrote it too. They start understanding like, oh wow, why is Kendrick doing so much to input himself and make sure his guys are good? It's because he still has that thing where he's like, yo, I was probably so up there that maybe people like Absol, which like, man, you gotta go if you really want something new to your ear. Absol is something you need to if you like cautious rap, Absol is good to the ear, right? It cleanses your head. He's a good rapper, great rapper. So imagine us as fans, like, yo, look at Absol. Like, what we doing with him? but you keep promoting Kendrick. Of course, of course, it's Kendrick's day. I get it, but this is him just going back at it, and he's been accused that one of his kids is fathered by his manager. With doing the this by Drake. Him literally just painting the picture of how he's related to all these, facets of his life in a beautiful way. It's like I feel like he's talking to his guys, man. Like, he's just putting what he's pouring his out to his guys. And we're just on the other end of the call, on the third way call, listening to what he's saying. So, well, I'm not like you mentioned Nas, so this man is a student of the game. Um, he's like he collected all the tools, and whenever he needs one, he pulls it out. So, but yeah, definitely a great song.
Yeah, man.
For sure. And crazy enough, we're crawling to the end. We're now at the penultimate track, which is the title track, GNX, another posse cut. This one features Hida J. Free, Young Fret, and Peso. And we're using the Buick GNX as a flex symbol. And I feel like this song has a very Death Row Records feel to it. Very old school once again, and I'm really digging that about this song. I would say it's the better of the two posse cuts on the album.
Are we John Howard too? Yeah, I mean, I'll let Corey go back. Yeah, it's literally, yeah, it's again. I just feel like it's it's one of my least tracks, favorite track, but it's him just basically giving us a project, right? He's not gonna hit home run on every song. Um, Still one of those songs that showcases a lot of the young talents out there. All those names now that you mentioned, I'm sure their careers are different now. So it's one of those things. I'm like, well, it got to be a West Coast thing, right? Like it has to be something that they get it. But yeah, it's not my favorite, but it's there. It's there.
It definitely taking shots again from far away. It definitely crushes Dodger Blue as your posse cut on this album. it's it's a low rider. It's a low rider anthem here.
Yeah.
And it for me it does its purpose being the penultimate track. We get a little bit more of a palette, like another. I'll say palette.
Cleanser.
We're coming in at 313, so it's a good track. It's nothing that to write home about. It's great to see young talent. It works well, even if they weren't young talent. If I didn't know they were young talent, it works well. It doesn't sound like anybody phoned it in. It sounds like everybody was together doing it. So it does its job here. It's not my favorite on the album, but it definitely doesn't take me out, and it sets us up for the outro here. So I dig it. I dig it. It fits at the very least.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yes, and now we're at the end of this beautiful album with Gloria, also featuring SZA once again. Yay. And it on the surface, you're thinking this is a love song to a woman. When I first heard this, okay, he's probably singing about his wife or rapping, I should say. But wait till the end. We thought it's about his pen and his music. That's the love of his life that we're discussing in this song. And that makes it hit harder. I mean, this has a really pretty sound to it. We've got the vocals from Dara Barrera again, just like we heard on Whacked Out Murals. So it really helps bring all of this
Yeah.
full circle. And of course, having SZA bring her vocals to it just is the cherry on top of it all, just icing on the cake. And really, she's the highlight of the song for me. I loved her on Luther, but she shines even more just in terms of her vocal, I think, on this track. And it's a beautiful closer. I mean, I feel like it ties the story that we've heard up really well. So, yeah, I'm happy with this as a closer.
Yeah, I'm happy with this as a closer to, and it was done that way because, like I said, he's very strategic with what he does, and he knows, okay, I'm going on the tour with this, with my fellow artists, and it shows like how the chemistry is so amazing. Um, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, oh well, y'all catch us on on the road, and I love it. Cesar, man, beautiful voice. I don't know what to say. Voice is so beautiful. It's soothing. Like I'm trying to figure out if it's the frequency. It doesn't get annoying. It's like how, it's yeah. It's a beautiful way to close it out. Yeah, for sure.
Shit is hard. Shit is hard. This is such a beautifully dirty track. Again, I'll start production genius wise, like to get that that singer that we've had little snippets up through here, not SZA, but
Hmm.
the other artist, to
Yeah.
get her to start this off and let us know that we're at the end of the album, and then them do a duo track out here that just murders, screams love song, and then you find out that it's just his craft, and you throw your hands up. It's this is a beautiful outro. This is a ribbon on the present that we have here. uh I can't say enough good things about taking the album out like this. It is spectacular way to go out.
No, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Wow. What a ride. What a ride of an album. We got a two-part episode all on GNX. And now we're at the end. I'm going to start with Jerry. I would like to know, what is your overall letter grade for GNX?
Ooh, little grade. I'll give it an A minus. Yeah, A minus. I think Kendrick. I've heard damn. So like you can't like them is just insane. That's all I got to say. So I can't give it an A plus. A minus. Yeah.
Corey, what is your grade?
Oh man. Kendrick Lamar GNX. Beautifully done album. One real big misstep for me. Pacing almost perfect. Uh Man, this is it hasn't been tougher. I was leaning towards a B plus, but I think I'm coming in with an A on this album. And that mostly comes from, especially now that we had a two-parter, just the time I've spent with it. Not once have I not got something new from a listen. So that pushes it up to the A for me.
Oh,
I'm gonna go with the A minus as well. Um, I do think this album tells a beautiful story all around, and I do get new stuff out of it each time I listen to it. There's just some songs that stack up a lot higher for me than others, and that's why I give it the A minus. But I think this is a beautiful album, and this might be a hot tea take, but I think this is so far the front runner for album of the year at the 2026 Grammys.
Heard that. Heard that.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm thinking.
I definitely think
yeah,
he
it's
gets recognition on
it's
this.
it's up there, man. It's the man, he did his thing. And you guys have to understand, as a regular Kendrick's fan, the amount of songs he gave us with the space of time that he did it, he's never done it before.
Right.
He's gonna do the history. Matter of fact, he's very selfish with giving us music. And this is what happens when you actually turn someone that's actually good. When you dare him, like, what are you gonna do? He gives us a tape throughout the beef, 4 or 5 songs back to back. And then he's like, no, I'm not done yet. I'm giving you as an official tape. Dude, you don't even give us nothing when we ask for it. Like, I'm a fan. Like, man, I'm disgusted. And you have to understand, I was getting killed by Drake fans. Like, hey, your guy don't give us songs. Drake gives us songs. Your guy's not gonna do nothing.
Yeah.
Now we see what's going on now, right?
Yeah.
He literally just flipped the switch and said, I actually have a reason to talk now, and let me talk. And when he came to the party, the team, the party in it. That's why he said the team, it's literally what happened. So yeah, it's a call. I feel like this tape, aside from its richness and just sonically how good it is, it's a historic, very very historic, important moment in the rap landscape. Yes, and
Hugely important moment.
we're gonna talk about GNX when we are talking about rap history for sure.
Most,
So
Yeah.
most definitely.
yeah,
All right. Now I know Jerry and I have both over the course of, so we've already revealed our favorite tunes off the album.
It's tough for me, man.
What's yours?
I think after Soul Searching, man, it's tough for me. I like pure quality of like what I think when I just automatically think of Kendrick. I'm going, Hey Now. Hey Now is my jam piece. His versatility on it is it's just who I know of him before this album, I guess. So I like it that much more. But that's my jam.
Yeah.
let's
Pretty
go.
cool that each one of us has a different favorite song on the album, too. I think that's how you know this is an album with, I think, something for every listener.
Yep.
Every time I listen to this album too, not just because of the podcast, I listen to it all the way through. It's a tough one
Oh,
not
yeah.
to, you know.
Yeah, it's a tough one to stop too. Like I
Yeah.
had to I'm done, Kendrick, for this week. I'm not about to. And then I'm like, man, I just want to ride home to Luther, and I don't know, man. Crazy, right? It's like it's good. Sometimes good music wins, man.
Yeah, man.
So,
For sure. And now we're at our end. Jerry, thank you so much for talking about this album with us.
Yes, thank you.
of course, anytime, guys, anytime. I'm always it's a great honor, to have me every time. I don't take this for granted, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you helping us out here. I think
Of
because you know
course.
a lot more about Kendrick's background than we do. So I think it really helped us paint the
Yeah.
fuller picture of all of this.
No, I like the way we actually, Corey has that old school perspective where he's really trying to draw people to the history of what's happening. And me, I was just trying to give, the context of certain things, which GNX has a lot of context that people need to understand to even enjoy it more, right? So it was always a pleasure, breaking things down with you guys, man.
Yeah, man.
For sure. But now next time you'll be hearing this, time to announce our next album. We'll be doing, because of its Oscar nominations and the Oscars are coming up, we haven't really done an Oscars theme here before. However, it's first time in a while that an adaptation of a Broadway musical has been nominated for Oscars.
Oh
So that's,
wow.
yeah, we're gonna do something we haven't done here before. We're gonna do a musical soundtrack. It's going to be Wicked Part 1 soundtrack featuring the vocal talents of Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. We'll be doing it post Oscars to see how it does. I'm really curious to see, yeah, how it fares at the awards. And I'm really looking forward to breaking it down because it's got some really neat songs in it for sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
nice.
Our first foray into Broadway. Here we go.
Yes. About time.
About time. About time.
Yeah, so we're looking really forward to that, and we'll be right back with you, defying gravity soon enough.
Sure. Peace.